Hi, this is Dan Carpenter with DC Entertainment. I figured it was about time that I went ahead and did a review of the Trusst TV mount. I got this back in January, wanted to have it for a couple bridal shows, was able to kind of run through a little bit of test there, but it really wasn't until yesterday in the wedding that I did yesterday that I really was able to kind of run it through its course. This TV mount from Trusst, it's nice. There's a lot of definite pros to it, a couple cons, and we'll talk about that as we go through the review. First off, let's go ahead and start with some of the definite pros, some of the things I really liked about this unit. This is very similar to the type of unit you would find at Walmart, Best Buy, Target, in that it's the flat panel, you've got your little clips, you've got bars on the back of the top or back of the TV that just hook on, giving you a nice little grasp to it. A couple of things that I wasn't real wild about. I tried some of those. I found that the holes were a little bit narrow. So the clamps that I was wanting to use were not going to fit through the ones from Walmart, Target, and the such. Don't have that issue with these. And in fact, this is one of the big reasons why I did it. For me, one of the things that I really needed was really an important aspect to this was I needed to be able to have a mount that I could do completely by myself. I'm a single operator. When I do events, nobody's helping me set up, nobody's helping me run them. So I needed one that I could do just by myself when I go to the event and do it. Now, in order to do that, I did have to make a couple modifications to it. For example, if you're seeing the clamps that are here, these are not the type of clamps that come with the Trusst mount. In fact, the Trusst mount has the screw-in type that you'd be more familiar with maybe as the basic. I went ahead and I had a couple Global Trusst quick clamps that I was doing, so that's what I use because that allows me to hook it up there, or hold it up there rather, and then just hook in and squeeze it, and then I'm good to go, and I don't have to worry about really trying to twist something and hold this at the same time and then go around and do the other side and then do my next TV. Just a couple quick clamp squeeze and it's done. So I did have to make that change off for it. But when we look at this, there's a couple of things that I do want to talk about with reference to the one that I have up here. You'll notice that the bolts that are sticking out, even on the units that, or even on the clamps that came with the unit, the bolts were a little bit long to the effect that when I would hook the TV up and using the little clamps that hook onto it, I noticed that they would hit. They would hit each one of them unless the TV was just in the right spot. Now, unfortunately, just the right spot was not centered on the totem. It was a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left, and so it created kind of a little bit of a problem for me when I wanted to be able to make sure that they were centered. I really haven't found a fix around that, so I kind of just let them be that way. For the most part, I'm probably making a bigger deal out of it than our clients would, but in the same respect, for those of us that want that perfect look, that is an issue. Even when the bolts weren't in the way, I also found that this leveler was in the way. Leveler is a great tool. I like it. It was one of those things that when I was hooking it up, I'm really close to it. I'm wanting to make sure I can look at the bubble and see, is it in the middle? Now, I say that, but I've also had a negative to this. Both of the mounts that I got, both this one as well as this one here, one of the issues that I had was the mount was broken. I don't know if they just tried to drill it too tight during production. I'm not really sure if it was delivery option or delivery issue. I mean, it didn't look like there was any damage to the box, and everything seemed to be pretty well in the box, just right. But yet both of my levelers were cracked. Now that creates a problem because a cracked one is not holding it in the right spot, and as a result, if you were to get really close here, you'd notice a little bit bigger gap on this side than this side, meaning that it's not exactly where it needs to be, and it's not exactly doing what it needs to do. So while I like the feature, it's not exactly something that I've been able to use too much, just from the standpoint of I have two that are broken. So I'll kind of get it close with what I have. I'll step back, kind of see how that is, and then from there I'll get out my phone. It has a leveler in it. I'll stick it up there and see if I need to fine-tune it any more than what I have. A great option, just wish it would work a little bit better. One of the other disadvantages to this, I mentioned about the bolts here, I mentioned about the leveler. There's a lot of space that's being used here. Now that's great because it keeps the TV in a solid spot and the TV's not moving. But one of the issues I have is my power cord is right about here, my HDMI is right about there. In order to make it work, in order to be able to actually use that at an event, I basically had to get right angle connectors for my HDMIs, for my power cables, just so that it could come out of the unit and then run down through the truss without being a major issue. Something I wasn't real wild about. Now, Global Trusst makes a TV mount, and I like it, but the only thing that was kind of a big downside was a lot of people said you needed 2 people to be able to do it. Being a single operator, doing this by myself, that just wasn't going to work. So while that one has all those cables that are open, having only one person be able to do it kind of created a problem. So I would love for a manufacturer to be able to come up with one where, again, you could easily put it as one person, like similar to what this is being done and what I can do with this, but doesn't have those issues where bolts getting in the way or panel part actually blocking the plugins that I need to use. If they could come up with that, that would be a great extra feature for me. So hopefully this review kind of gave you some ideas. I'm not actually putting the TV up because I don't have my base on my Trusst, but I did want you to be able to see what this looks like and what it looks like up. And again, this has been Dan Carpenter with DC Entertainment, and that's been a review of the Trusst TV mount.